secara rohani.
Okay, are you ready, Nizatul?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. Now we go to the third contestant, Nizatul Natasha binti Hassan from SMK Tan Sri Osman Muhammad Sa'ad. Okay, you can start now.
I have a dream that my four little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin but the content of their character. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela. What do the lines and this name have in common with one of the novel which I'm going to tell everyone later? Reading book is indeed the catalyst for enlightenment. And who I am today has been greatly shaped by the books I read. Thanks to the Nilam program for making reading a pursuit in my life. Good morning, everyone. My name is Nizata Natasha, and I'm from SMK Tan Sri Osman Muhammad Sa'ad. Now, I'm so delighted to share my 5 books. The first book is the Epic of Hang Tuah, translated by Muhammad Haji Saleh. It narrates the life of Hang Tuah, the ultimate Malay warrior. I read it to spark this fighting life in me. My second book is Legacy by Abdul Talib Muhammad Hassan. It tells the ups and downs of a Malay family struggle to adapt to the invasive effect of Western culture. I learned a lot about the practical wisdom of living in a multiracial country. Little Woman is the title of my third book. The author was Louisa May Alcott, and the story is about a family struggle against the backdrop of American Civil War. The novel opened my eyes into American family values. Usman Awang, our national laureate, was the author of my fourth book in the list, entitled Jiwa Hamba or Enslaved Soul. This anthology of poems captured our local lifestyle artistically. I was truly captivated by its poetic charm and essence. Finally, my favorite piece is an English masterpiece, To Kill a Mockingbird, by an esteemed author, Harper Lee. It it was published in 1960. The novel had been widely prized for its of sensitive treatment of child awakening to racism and prejudice. In the American South, there are 3 dominant themes that Lee wanted to emphasize, namely prejudice, courage, and family life. Let's begin with an example from one of the themes in the novel. We can learn that citizens in Macomb, especially the black community, is facing problems like prejudice and courage. Let's take an example from one of the characters in the novel named Tom Robinson. Tom Robinson is a black man that was falsely accused on sexually assaulted a white woman named Mayila Ewells. No matter the number of evidence have shown that he is innocent, but the accusation remain. It's simply because he is black and the so-called victim is white. To Kill a Mockingbird also has become a classic modern of American literature. The plot and the character are loosely based on Lee's experience when she was 10 years old. Jem and her, the novel the novel took place during the 3 years of the Great Depression in the fictional town called Macomb. Jem and her older brother live in a town called Macomb with their neighbor Dale, and they spend a lot of time together. And they'll spend a lot of time together, and they got interested with one of their other neighbors named Bu Arthur Radley, that barely seen outside from his house. Their widowed father, Atticus Finch, is a respected lawyer that defended a black man named Tom Robinson that was accused of the rape charge. When the trial begins, Tom is found guilty despite of being innocent, and he even tried to escape from the prison and was killed. The event that took place has exposed to the child gem about racism and stereotyping. There are two messages that I deduce from the novel. First, we shouldn't judge someone just because they don't have the same race, where they're from, or their different skin color than us. But we should judge them based on their behavior and their actions. This is really to one of Lee's messages about prejudice and showing how ridiculous it is to judge someone because they because just to judge someone in that kind of way. Second, we shouldn't categorize someone based on their social status and socio-economic status. It's simply because it's not fair to judge them just because they don't have a lot of money. We are supposed to see humanity as something that colorless. Looking a Mockingbird also is the most assigned novel in American school. It even been have sold over than 10 million copies and been translated into 40 languages. In 1961, in 1961, the novel also have won the Pulitzer Prize for its bestseller novel. The novel also has won Quill Award in 2007, and even the author have also won the Presidential Medal of Freedom for contribution to literature in 2007. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gladly to share my book today, and based on the message that I say at the beginning of my speech, we can be like them too. I'm so glad that I could share my novel and tell about the novel further. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Izatu Natasha. That was a great presentation from you. Okay, well done. To Kill a Mockingbird is actually also my favorite novel of all time. It's a good classic. So I have a few questions for you. Alright, my first question is, who was your favorite character in the novel and why?
Thank you for the question. One of my favorite character in the novel, I could say Atticus Finch. Atticus Finch, you could see in the novel, he is a very brave man that to have courage to defend a black man of despite of he being a different color from him. He even back back face from his own race to because he know that justice must come first instead of race. Yes, I know Atticus Finch is kind of like a most basic answer you could say, but yes, Atticus Finch is a very good gentleman. I think I've seen many people saying is that he they wanted to become a lawyer just because they read To Kill a Mockingbird and inspired by the character Atticus Finch. It even inspired me to do things out of my comfort zone and be brave and not afraid to take risks at all. Yes, yes, I really inspired by Atticus Finch. I think he's a very great character that everyone should let him to become our role model. Thank you for the questions.
Okay, thank you. I also thank you. Alright, now let's move on to the next question. Okay, do you think prejudice exists in our society? And if so, how do you think we should handle the situation?
Thank you for the question once again. Yes, I do think prejudice in our country is a big problem. Yes, I believe that even in other country like Western country like America, China, and many more countries, yes, they face a problem like prejudice. I believe if we took an example from one of the most famous thing right now is like in Parliament, you could see that there's a lot of prejudice to a young minister. we can see that Syed Sadiq is himself being facing this prejudice in so many ways. When he trying to do something or do something and give an opinion to older minister, they still need to adopt and do a prejudice to him just because he's more young and less experienced than them. I believe that education do come first, and I believe that yes, even though you much older, you much wiser, but I believe that prejudice, I believe is prejudice if everyone in the country have prejudice on youngsters of having an opinion, it would be a huge problem for us. And I think how should we trying to facing this problem is I believe that society should I believe that society should take serious at this problem and take everyone opinion despite of being different in race, different in opinion, have different age. Yes, you could see, if you take an example from the novel, citizen in Maykum, especially the black community, is facing a problem like prejudice. Just because they have different opinion, they have different color, they have different social status. But citizen in Maykum doesn't think that their opinion is valid just because they is much different from them. So I believe that if our country take this problem really good and take a focus on it really good, I believe that our country could move forward, and even our country could become more have more open-minded society in it. Thank you for the questions.
Okay, thank you. Alright, my final question is, if you could have a different ending to this novel, what would it be and why?
Thank you for the question. Yes, when I was reading this book, I'm kind of like, I'm slightly, this is just my personal opinion, but I just like slightly disappointed when I know that Tom Robinson is being killed and not everyone still think that he is accused for sexually assaulted Mayuna Iwell just because he have different color from her. I believe that I want Tom Robinson not being killed, and still the the charge the court would have like different perspective, suddenly getting a different perspective to defend Tom Robinson despite of he being black. So I would love to see Tom Robinson to being safe and have justice and have justice and equality. And I want that Atticus Finch even succeed to find the fairness for the black community in Maykum. Thank you.
Right, that's all. I think that's all the question I have. Thank you so much for your participation today.
Thank
Thank you, Natasha.
so
Okay,
saya
bye. Adik Zatul.
bye.